happened was...
Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow, and Rainbow is good bread. I promised you the best in radio entertainment. And as I travel across this country, whenever I see something that's exciting, I want to share it with you. I would like to dedicate today's program to the young people all over this state that have participated in Black Heritage Month program. It was a long time ago that Carter G. Woodson decided that we would have a Black History Week. Black History Week was held predominantly in all black schools. But since then, things have changed. And now we have a whole month that's dedicated to black history. I have had the opportunity to attend a large number of black history celebrations. And certainly I would like to salute those of you in Enid, Oklahoma that did such a beautiful job. And certainly I would like to salute to those of you in schools throughout the state of Oklahoma that have participated. But yesterday, I had the opportunity to go to Crescent Hill. In some way, I wanted to express my appreciation to the people at Crescent Hill, but I could not do it as eloquently as my daughter. And here's Shelley.
I would like to express my deepest appreciation to Miss Henry, Miss Hardiman, and the students of Crescent Hills Elementary School who honored my mother on yesterday. Her favorite line is, "Give me my flowers while I live so I can enjoy them." And that's exactly what you did. Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Shelley. You have expressed our feelings. I know so many times those of you out in Radio Land do not have the opportunity to see our young people in action. And that's why today I've invited here to the studio some VIP. Now, VIP simply means of some very important personalities. And speaking of important personalities, I have here the principal. And what is your name?
Doris Henry.
Okay, Doris, I know you are proud of your staff and your students.
Very much so.
What did you think about that program yesterday?
I thought it was quite a humbling experience to see the students to perform. They did an absolutely beautiful job, and to be aware of the history that is a part of their lives, and especially to have our special guest as you, Mrs. Luper. And we also had one of our parents, Roz Bowie, who has cut an album, and she came and made a special appearance. So it was a very, very special day, and I was just exhilarated with the performance of the students and what they had to say.
Who were the teachers that were responsible for that program?
We had one person that was in charge, and this Mrs. Sarah Hardiman, who is our teaching assistant, and she works
What do you mean by teacher assistant?
She works in the classroom with the teacher to help with the instruction.
Okay.
And she has started the VIP club, which is a very important person, and she meets with the 3rd and 4th graders twice a week, the girls on one day and the boys on the other, and to talk about things to help them to realize that they are very important people.
As I understand it, the VIP presented the program yesterday.
That is correct.
One of the most challenging awards that I saw was a young lady that sold 180 bars of candy.
That's
Who was
right.
she?
That's Felicia Doolittle, and she's one of our 3rd graders.
I know that Allstate Insurance Company will be looking for her, and incidentally, this portion of our program is being brought to you by Allstate. That's your favorite insurance agent, Marilyn Hildreth, and you may call her by calling 427-8399, or you may visit her office at 9228 North May Avenue in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Mrs. Henry, today I have invited some very important personalities out here to the radio studio. Would you tell the radio audience the names of my personalities?
I would love to. We have our third and fourth graders are Charmaine Hodges, Michelle House, Philip Harding, LaQuay Jeffers, Clifton Henry, Matthew Rockwell, Devon Borders, Lakeisha Bilberry, Sharonda Mustin, Markeisha Grant, Monica McCoy, Taranza Carson, Regina Harper, Malik Green, David Wright, Brian Rector, Conita Butts, Norman Houston, Tiffany Cunningham, Florine Brown, and Malika Loving.
You are an unusual principal because an average principal would not take time off on a Saturday to bring all of these young people out here. And I want to congratulate you.
Well, thank you, except that I just feel that the children are very special people, and I like to see them do extra things. And I want to say a special thank you for not only taking time out of your day yesterday, but having us here today, because this will be something that not only the students that are here, but all of Crescent Hill students will remember for the rest of their lives.
Well, I'm expecting my photographer to come out and take a picture, and I'm going to put these very important personalities in my history book. I have a book of everything that I do, and I will be sending each one individual certificates for participating. And incidentally, my photographer has just walked in. Now, I want the public to know that at Crescent Hill School, and that's located where?
At 2240 Northeast 19th.
On a Saturday, you have your teachers, you have patrons, and all out here with you, and you were able to get a bus to come out here.
That's right. And I want to say a special thank you to the parents that came along, and of course, I can't thank Mrs. Hardiman enough because she is our driving force behind the VIP club, and also for the school district of being so cooperative to giving us a bus at a short notice.
Well, I hope there are some more Mrs. Hardimans out in radio land. And if I were you parents out there in other schools, if my students were not participating, I would just call and demand something. But ladies and gentlemen, this portion of our program is brought to you by Enterprise Square Place, located at 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue. While you are at Enterprise Square Place, I would like for you to go to Sherry's Cleaners, 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue. Now, you can take your clothes up there in the morning, and you can pick them up in the evening. All you will have to do is say that I need my clothes. I need my clothes. Now, they will clean them like they've never been cleaned before. Mr. Calvin Williams is a specialist. He's well-trained, plus he's had the experience. Go to Sherry's Cleaners, 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue, and tell them that you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. Yesterday, the VIPs presented pages from Black history. And ladies and gentlemen, today, as they present this for your educational enjoyment, I want you to do one thing. First, I want you to realize that we are talking to third and fourth graders. Secondly, I want you to sit back and listen to some real history. We are ready now, spelling Black history.
B. Black is beautiful. This is really true. So is red, yellow, and blue. If you think this is a mystery, the black we are talking about is Black history.
Wonderful.
L. Laws that all people should obey. Laws protect you, or so they say. Laws are for all races and creeds. Laws must protect our rights and human needs. A. America, land of the free. If I am a minority, does that include me? I am a black American. Why must I still fight for my own country to grant me my civil rights? C. Civil rights was a movement in the 1960s and beyond. It will never be over until freedom is won. Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream that we must fulfill. Civil rights is America's bitter pill. K. Kindness and nonviolence was Dr. King's way. When people were mean to you, be kind to them, he said. Soon other people will see what it's like to be treated mean just because you are black. H. History on how we respect it. That history has been written to include all men. Black people is all over everywhere you look, except on the pages of our history books. An invisible man, Ralph Ellison said, why America acts as if all blacks are dead. Though we've proven over and over we are very much alive. In America, we ain't gonna take no more of your job.
S. Scholastic achievement is our goal, so our own destiny we can control. If we study hard and do our best, the civil rights laws will do the rest. T. Together, black people will continue to fight until this nation grants us our civil rights. Together, we will work and see that all laws are passed until all black people are free at last.
Overcome. We shall overcome has been and still is our battle cry. Black people will sing this freedom song until we die. It helped us in our struggles long ago. It gives us courage to get up and fight some more.
All right.
R. Role models, we have so many that make us proud. They stand head shoulder above any crowd. In history, we are mainly mentioned as slaves because this really makes us worry, because our black role models have proven that they are superior. T. For years and years, we have had to fight for respect, dignity, and for human rights. Today, we pause a tribute to pay to our civil rights leaders who have led the way. They sacrificed a life for you and me, just so little black children can be free.
Now, from the pages of history comes the story of great Americans as told by the students from Crescent Hill.
Hello, I am Harriet Tubman. Strong as a man, brave as a lion, cunning as a fox. That is what they call me. Though I could not read or write, I was able to help my people escape slavery. That is why I am called the Moses of my race. I escaped to freedom and became the famous conductor of the Underground Railroad. I was able to free over 300 slaves. The trips were hard and dangerous. By day, by night, summer and winter, we worked to get slaves to freedom. I was nearly caught many times, but I prayed a lot and God saved me. During the Civil War, I served both as a spy and a nurse for the Union. I nursed the soldiers who were wounded in the battle. When I died in 1913, I was buried in Ohio with full military honors.
Hello, my name is John Johnson. Do you like to read? I hope so. I hope you especially enjoying reading my magazines, Ebony, Jet, Negro Digest, and many others. I own the most successful black publishing company in the world. Over 4 million people read my magazines monthly. When I was a child, my mother was on welfare. Today, I'm a millionaire. Oh yes, check out the Ebony Fashion Fair when it comes to your city. Please keep reading my magazine.
Hello, I am Dr. Daniel Williams, a famous heart surgeon. I became the first person, black or white, to perform surgery on a patient's heart. In 1893, I opened up a man's chest and sewed up his heart. The man lived. That is why I am called the first heart surgeon in the world. All people, black or white, should be proud of me.
Hello, I am Madam C.J. Walker. I was born in 1869, though I was orphaned when I was 6 years old, and I got married when I was 14. I still became a millionaire by developing and manufacturing cosmetics for Negro women. Before I died in 1919, I proved to the whole world that black women are beautiful too.
Hello, I am Barbara Jordan. I have a lot of firsts in my career. I was governor of Texas for a day. I was the first woman, black or white, elected to the Texas State Senate. I served there from 1962 to 1968. On June 10, 1972, I gave a very moving speech before the Democratic National Convention, the first black person given this honor. I am a lawyer and a law professor, and I have been asked to run for president, and someday I may do that.
Hello, my name is Clara Luper. A very interesting life I live. Just a short account of it will I now attempt to give. I am called the mother of the sit-in movement and few other names as well. Some of them I am proud of, and others are too bad to tell. You see, it happened like this a long time ago. I like to eat, I like to shop, and I like the movie show. Though I had the money, it just wasn't easy, you see, 'cause us black people just wasn't free. One day I was riding around. I got really mad at what I found. Signs that read, white only here, colored only there. I could smell racial hatred in the air. I went home and fell on my bed and said to my God, I'd rather be dead. Then this still small voice said to me, Clara, you and all black people can be free. Go downtown and demand your civil rights. There is only one catch. You cannot fight. Nonviolence is the only way. Soon, racial segregation would just rot away. The NAACP had a meeting that day. They listened carefully to what I had to say. I asked them all to join with me to work to set our people free. It started with Catch Drugstore and H.L. Green, and things really started getting mean. We took on Anna Mods and John A. Brown. The protest marches and police went round and round. They took some of us to jail. The NAACP, the black churches, and the community posted our bail. We sang, we prayed, and we marched again. This time we were determined that black people would win. Little by little, segregation laws came tumbling down, and black people could eat with dignity anywhere downtown. Though we were grateful new challenges I now face, there are still many other racial barriers to erase. Civil rights laws were soon passed. Thank God black people were free at last. We won some and lost a few. It just seems my work is never through. In 1988, the civil rights struggle goes on. We shall overcome is still our battle song. I still hear small voices calling to me, Clara, Clara. Black people and others still are not free. Sometimes I get so weary when my life struggle I review. Somewhere I find strength and my courage is renewed. The greatest thrill in my life I can readily recall when I wrote and published my book, Behold the Walls. Hello, I am Mary McLeod Bethune. I went from a cotton picker in the cotton fields of the South to a White House advisor to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. I also had a strong desire for education. With $1.50, I single-handed started a school for girls in Daytona Beach, Florida. The school began with 5 girls. In a very short period of time, 600 students and 32 teachers made up the school. Today, my school is now a college, Bethune-Cookman College. Both women and men are students there.
Hello, I am Ralph Ellison. Ralph Ellison was born on 1st Street in Oklahoma City on March 1st, 1914. He grew up on the sandy streets known as West Town, and the small family home was always in danger of being flooded by the North Canadian River. Ellison received his elementary education at Orchard Park School and later Douglas High School when it was located on California Street in the downtown section of present-day Oklahoma City. He later hitchhiked to Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama, where he enrolled. He began writing in 1939. His early efforts consist of short stories and essays. His first book, Invisible Man, appeared in 1952. The book was highly acclaimed. Mr. Ellison has received many honors for his achievements in the literary field. Ellison presently is Albert Schweitzer Professor of Humanities at New York University. On Northeast 23rd Street stands the Ralph Ellison Library, named in my honor.
Hello, I am Judge Charles Owens. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. While I was growing up, I worked as a paperboy, a skycap, a janitor, and a policeman. I graduated from college and spent 4 years in the Army. In 1956, I enrolled in the University of Tulsa's Law School. In 1960, I finished law school. In 1968, Governor Dewey Bundit appointed me as a district judge in Oklahoma County. I am still serving as a judge today. With hard work and a good education, I went from being a poor boy on the streets of Tulsa to a district judge. I am proud to be a black American.
Today you're listening to a program that is being presented to you by the students from Crescent Hill High School in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This program is being made possible by Dr. A.L. Dowell, your optometrist. Dr. A.L. Dowell's office is located at 934 Northeast 8th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I'm sorry, it's being brought to you by Crescent Hill Elementary School. And I made that mistake in front of all of these students from Crescent Hill Elementary School. Well, Dr. A.L. Dowell would like to say that if you cannot see as well as you would like, if you're having any difficulty, call him. The telephone number is 235-0536. Now for a secret. If you're receiving any kind of federal aid, do you realize that you can get your glasses free? That's Dr. A.L. Dowell, 934 Northeast 8th Street. From the pages of American history, we are telling you the story about the black people. I want you to look around at some exciting stories. I want you to go to Rose's Restaurant. Rose's Restaurant is located at 217 Northwest 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. You may go in this evening and eat some good old soul food, or you may go tomorrow to enjoy soul food. Remember, these are third and fourth graders that are bringing to you from the pages of American history the story of black people. We will continue now.
Hello, my name is Ada Lois Sipul Fisher. They call me a pioneer in integrated education in the state of Oklahoma. I am the first black student to enroll in the law school at the University of Oklahoma. My court battles took 41 months, and my case was taken by the NAACP all the way to the Supreme Court. I won it on June 18, 1949. I was finally admitted to the law school at OU. I was 42 years old when I entered law school. Today I am a lawyer and a professor at Langston University.
Hello, my name is Hanna Atkins. I am the first black woman elected to the Oklahoma State House of Representatives District 97. I served for 11 years. Do you know why you have to have shots before you can enroll in school? That was one of the bills I introduced, and it became a law. You can blame me for making sure Oklahoma school children are healthy. I am presently serving as the Secretary of State for Governor Henry Bellman.
Hello, I am Prentice Gaut. I am called Mr. Football. I grew up in Oklahoma City and went to Page Elementary and Douglas High School. I went to college at OU. I like to play football, so I went to tell the OU coach that I wanted to join his football team. Because
I was very small. The boys on the team made fun of me. I proved to them that I could play football. I was so good the next year they gave me a football scholarship. I played in the pros 7 years. By the way, I am the first black person to ever play for OU. Though I was small and black, I proved to the world that I could play football. Hey, small fella, you can too.
Hello, I am E. Melvin Porter. I am a lawyer. I am the first black man to be elected to the Oklahoma Senator. For I served as the senator of District 48 over 20 years. Most people call me a troublemaker because I speak out civil rights in the education and justice system in our state and nation. I am very active with the NAACP because they work for freedom and justice. My law office is on Northeast 23rd Street, right in the heart of the black community.
Hello, my name is Zama Tom Hardman. On November 8, 1971, 41 men gathered at my home to form the Northeast Optimist Club. The purpose of the club was to provide organized wholesome recreation activities for the boys and girls at the Northeast and girls of the Northeast Oklahoma City. Not only was the club the first of its kind in Oklahoma City, it was the first all-black Optimist Club ever to be organized in the United States of America. We became a part of Optimist United States. The members elected me as their first charter club president. This earned us a permanent place in the history books of Oklahoma. The Northeast Optimist Club is still operating today.
Hello, my name is Roscoe Dunjee. My father was a slave who escaped from the South with his family on the Underground Railroad ran by Harriet Tubman. Later, my father became a Baptist minister and was sent to Oklahoma to do mission work. I love to read and write. When I was 32 years old, I bought a small printing press. On November the 5th, 1915, I started my own newspaper called the Black Dispatch. My paper worked very closely with the NAACP during the sit-in movement of the 1960s in breaking down Jim Crow laws of segregation in Oklahoma. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mary Leontine Price. When I was a little girl, I started singing in the church choir in my hometown, Laurel, Mississippi. When I grew up and went to college, I still enjoyed singing. I won a scholarship to the famous Juilliard School of Music in New York City. There I became a famous opera singer. I have been in such famous operas as Porky and Bess and Madame Butterfly. I sang with the famous Metropolitan Opera. Recently, I was honored at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. for my work as the opera singer. I have traveled all over the world.
The stories must be told and they must be retold. Langston Hughes wrote some years ago, "Someday somebody's going to talk about me. Someday somebody's going to write stories about me. It will be me, myself." Today's program is being made possible by your own insurance agent, Marilyn Hildred. If it's insurance you need, call 848-7470. Mrs. Henry, I would like to express my appreciation to you, and I want to make sure that I have the names of all of these VIPs. I really feel happy today because I'm surrounded by VIPs.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us again, and I would like to add a couple of names that we missed, and they are Latoya Booker, Taisha Williams, and Daryl Booker. And we're very, very pleased, and thank you again for being a part of our special celebration.
I know those of you out in radio land wish you were with Clara Luper today. Just think, I'm surrounded by VIP. Yesterday, I would like to say again, as Shelley said so much better than I, thank you, Crescent Hills Elementary School, and to all of you out there. And especially thanks for being my special guest, because it's all happy days. Today's Black History Special that has been presented by the students from Crescent Hills Elementary School. What I would like for you to do, I would like for you to look at your children. See if your children are understanding their own history. I feel that that white America now must stop and study black history, because black history is really a reflection of white history. So, you know what has happened at Crescent Hill. Why don't you give the school a call? Let the school know that you're behind them 100%. Well, as the young people are leaving now, I would like to say thanks to all of you, and I want you to be the best. I will keep up with you. Black hands.
With these black hands.
And now to all of you, Clara Luper says goodbye. This is going to be a very exciting week. There are a lot of programs that are available through our churches, and I have a very beautiful young lady who has come here today to tell us about a program. Do you know anything about a program that will be held at the St. Luke's Baptist Church? Oh, you don't? Well, somebody else will be out here, and they're going to tell us about a program at St. Luke's Baptist Church. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, this part of our program is being brought to you by Sherry's Cleaners, located at 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue. Sometimes we read stories in newspapers that really upset us. And today, I would like to tell you about a story that I read. I would like for Reverend Mims, Reverend Strong, and all to come into the studio here, because we want to say and we want to tell you about a story in a newspaper. We want to tell you about this story in order that you will understand what's happening in your own city. Ladies and gentlemen, I have here in the studio Reverend Mims, Reverend Strong, and the executive director of the Urban League in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I have some men here that I respect, and certainly I know that your heart bled as mine, as some of you have read in a local newspaper. I will bring them on in just a minute. In the meantime, Mrs. Elaine Pollard has arrived to tell us what's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Luper, and thank you for inviting me here to make this announcement on behalf of our church. The St. Luke Baptist Church Drama Committee will present the NAACP Youth Council in the Harriet Tubman Story in its Black History program on tomorrow evening. That's Sunday, February the 28th at 7:30 p.m. at the church, St. Luke Baptist Church, 1001 Northeast 50th Street. That's 50th and Post Road in Spencer, Oklahoma. The Harriet Tubman story features Alicia Hildreth as Harriet and Carrie Whitaker as John Tubman, with Chris Fowler and David Fowler and many other members of the NAACP Youth Council. So we, the members of the Drama Committee at the St. Luke Baptist Church, would like to invite all the general public to come out and enjoy this experience with us. Sister Julia Majors is the Drama Committee Chairman, and Reverend DeWitt Rowland is our pastor.
Once again, what time is that program?
That's at 7:30 p.m., Mrs. Luper.
At 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, and St. Luke's Baptist Church is located where?
At 50th and Post Road in Spencer, Oklahoma.
Thank you so very kindly for being my very distinguished guest today. And speaking of Black History programs, tomorrow we will be participating in a forum at the Evangelistic Baptist Church, and that's at 30th and Martin Luther King Avenue at exactly 5 o'clock. We at 3 tomorrow, Miss Perry is going to call us and tell us about that program, and I'm going to give you a little secret. I will be the guest speaker for Black History Week. The people out at the Northeast Baptist Church in Oklahoma City has been working real hard this week, and they will end their Black History celebration tomorrow. I am expecting her to call, and she will be with me. Never before in the history of America have we as Black people faced such challenges. We have faced problems that are acute, and someone say that we have met the enemy, and he is us. Throughout the years, I've tried more than anything else to be honest with this community. I've tried to call the punches as I saw them and as I felt them. And this is what the rest of this program after this announcement will be about. Clara Luper?
This is Juanita Perry of Northeast Missionary Baptist Church.
Yes, Juanita.
I'm calling to invite the public to come out to our church at 3815 Bartell Road.
And what is that address again?
3815 Bartell Road.
Okay.
Forest Park.
Okay.
Reverend Arthur E. Williams is the pastor. And we will be honored to have you, Clara Luper, as our guest speaker at 3:30 p.m.
Oh, it's at 3:30 in place of 3.
Yes.
Let me get that straight. Those of you that are coming out to Northeast Baptist Church tomorrow, the time is not 3 o'clock, it's 3:30, all right?
And our theme is rights and responsibilities.
Well, that is just wonderful. Who's the chairperson of that program?
Yours truly, Juanita Perry.
Well, Juanita, I'm so happy to see you so involved in your church, and I can hardly wait to get out there in that beautiful church. Are you proud of it?
We are very thankful to the Lord for having blessed us.
Well, the Lord has certainly blessed you with that kind of building that you have out there. How many acres of land do you have?
Oh, it's a little bit over 9 acres.
Over 9 acres of land. The Lord has really blessed you, and thank you so very kindly for being my very distinguished guest this evening. Did you hear the young people from Crescent Hills?
Yes, I did, and I was quite impressed. They had so much to tell us about the history of our people and about the people in Oklahoma that have contributed so much to making the United States and Oklahoma what it is.
Okay, then. Well, thank you so very kindly, and see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m.
Thank you, and we want the public to be sure and come and hear you.
Okay, then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The public is invited to come and hear Clara Luper. What a story. Once again, I've tried to be honest with this community. I know that as one person in Oklahoma City, I have a right. And I have a right to speak my opinion on issues. And I would like to say publicly that I think that the Black Chronicle made a drastic, I don't know what you call it. I will call it a historical sabotage. Let us look. Now, this is what I think. Now, you think whatever you want to. But let's look at the situation. Remington Park is coming to Oklahoma City with all of its job opportunities. And as I travel down the highway, down Martin Luther King's Avenue, and as I watch the men that were working on that project, I haven't seen any blacks working on that project. Now, those of you out in radio land, if you know blacks that have worked out there, let me know. Now, just think about it. They have come into this black community with all of the big jobs, the contracting jobs, and I have seen no blacks being involved. And because of the fact that somebody asked about jobs, talking about they were not speaking for this community, and I want these preachers to know that they were certainly speaking for me. And those of you out in radio audience, I want to see who you agree with. Let's get the real story, because I don't care how you wrap it up, the issue that's facing black people today are J-O-B-S, jobs. Now, Reverend, I saw your pictures in the paper. I read the story. Now, I want to know from you, Reverend Mims, exactly what happened at that meeting.
Reverend Strong and Mr. Mims can speak also on this, but what happened was we had invited Mr. Vance and Mr. Gandy to come and to give us an update on the job situation. And you're right, Mrs. Luper. The situation is that they have let out 57 contracts, 53 of which were given to people in Oklahoma, none of which were black. They have also hired their entire managerial staff out there. There are no black managers anywhere out there at that place. They told us that they were going to develop a plan to do some more hiring. I want Mr. Mims to explain his comments on that. But the last comment I want to make is this, is that they want black folk to sweep manure and to cook food, and that's all I think they feel we're qualified to do. And we, in a calm, professional way, Dr. Strong and I both are educated ministers. We have doctorate degrees, and we have negotiated with people, and in a calm, educated way, we ask them why.
You ask them why they have not hired any black managers, any blacks in positions. You ask them why in a calm measure. And I want to let you know Reverend Parker is highly educated too. Let me hear what happened as you saw it, Reverend Strong. You were there. What actually happened?
Well,
as
Reverend,
you saw it. All right.
The whole issue is about jobs, pure and simple. I'm not pro-racetrack to begin with, but it's going to be a reality, and it's going to bring with it a certain number of jobs. And I've been approached by members of my own church. I've been approached by other people asking, inquiring, because the people are hard hit in this economy. It's a very depressed economy, and if there are jobs coming in, especially into our community, people want to know so that they will have a chance, just like anyone else will have an equal chance to go and apply for those jobs. And I think that we are less than interested in the community, and we're less than about our Father's business if we sit back and allow those jobs to come in and be filled by persons outside the community, and then our people get those at the bottom of the rung. That's the way it's always done. But we simply raise some questions and ask for a process, a mechanism whereby we might steer people to the right person to get those jobs.
All right, now you only ask for jobs. Well, this is quite interesting because you have a job. You have a job, Reverend Mims. You were saying that at that meeting, you were speaking on behalf of the people that needed jobs.
We're not looking for jobs for ourselves, but we pastor congregations and we look in the faces of people Sunday after Sunday, day after day, who do have a need to have just some type of income, some type of legitimate income based on a job, their ability to go out and work and support their families. And that's all that we were concerned about.
Well, what actually happened, Mr. Vance, who's with this, the company that owns the racetrack, came out. Is that true?
They came out. He presented a spiel, a speech, if you would, in which he outlined what had been done up to that point based on the facts that Reverend Mims has just articulated. And he was ready to leave without any questions being asked, but he consented to respond to some questions, and these are the kinds of questions that we ask.
Oh, you all should have asked him, how much manure can we take up in a day? You should have asked him, will they tip us? You come asking difficult questions about jobs and job advancement?
Well, we were told by city councilman that black folk were not qualified for those jobs that were let by contract.
Excuse me, what did you say?
We were told that black folk were not qualified for those jobs, that we didn't have anyone.
Our city councilman told you ministers that we were not qualified?
I was shocked.
Has he ever heard of Owens and Son? Has he ever heard of Moore Construction Company and others? We are qualified? How dare anyone tell us that we are not qualified? Well, that sounds like the white folks. I remember when we went downtown, somebody told us that we were not qualified to eat. And I never shall forget that. Senator Porter and I told him that we were qualified to eat the day we were born. And then we condemned the schools, especially OU, that didn't have a course set up for black people, teaching them how to eat. But if you don't believe I can eat, you just invite me to dinner. And you mean to tell me that Councilman Gory Zanes told you ministers in the presence of Mr. Vance and others that we didn't have blacks that were qualified?
For those jobs that were let via contract, I'm sure I don't want to, I don't have any personal issue with him on a personal level. This is much bigger than he is. It's much bigger than any individual. This is a community issue. No other community would allow this type of investment in its community whereby the people would not benefit from it. You could go all over this city, all over this state, all over this nation, and there's no other place in the world where a $90 million investment would be made without some serious communication with people on the front end in terms of employment opportunities, so forth and so on. I'm not talking about for any one individual. I understand that there's a box seat that's already been promised to
the councilman has a certain newspaper, and they have box seats.
We were not there for box seats for ourselves.
You were there talking about jobs.
Jobs for others.
I read with much interest about this young urban leaguer that has come to Oklahoma City. Now, sir, don't you know the urban league is not supposed, you're supposed to wait until you have conferences and sit there and talk. What are you doing talking bad to those millionaires?
Well, first and foremost, this is not a very young urban league. I've been in the civil rights movement for 40 years, and I doubt that I can see anything new here in Oklahoma City that I have not seen anywhere else. Let me clarify for you what that meeting was basically all about.
Okay.
We were trying to get two things. One, we wanted a process. We wanted to find out how our people could apply for jobs. We failed in that the two men from Remington Park did not give us any information whatsoever about a process other than the fact they gave us a telephone number, and then they proceeded to tell us that they would not even answer the telephone for any of us. Only if Councilman James called would they respond.
Wait just a minute now. They told you what?
Yes, they gave us a telephone number where people could call for jobs, but they told us they would not even answer the telephone, only if Councilman James would. So we failed to get any satisfactory answers in terms of an employment process. In other words, if these ministers here wanted to go back to their congregation and tell their people, how do you get jobs at Remington Park, all they could give them was a telephone number, and even if they called that telephone number, if Councilman James didn't call, apparently no one got a job.
Well, that sounds like what happened in slavery time. They would leave one black in charge, and if you wanted something from the master, you would have to go through that black.
Well, that's precisely what it is, and I call it the plantation system. It's a very serious system in this community. So that's one of the problems we had, trying to get jobs, having to go through one man. The second thing issue that came up was the issue of affirmative actions. We wanted those tract officials to guarantee us some kind of goal, not quota, but some kind of goal. They would hire X number of black people at there. And, of course, Councilman James was opposed to affirmative actions. And
don't tell me Councilman James did not want an affirmative action program.
Well, he's one of the few black people I've ever seen who was opposed to affirmative action.
Ronald Reagan has one as head of his commission.
Well, you would think that Ronald Reagan has some of his people down here in Oklahoma City also. But that was the problem. And incidentally, Councilman...
He was a guest. Now, Councilman James spoke against that program. I wish, Councilman James, if you are listening, I would like for you to call me because I don't like for my councilman to be against affirmative action.
Well, let me just tell you what he told us in essence. He said, don't worry about affirmative actions at the racetrack. He said the city would ensure that the racetrack provided affirmative actions. And some of us said, well, the city is deficient itself. Look at the police department. You have about 3% of black people down at the police department with about 14% of black people in this town. So the city has to get its own act together in terms of affirmative actions. How can the city enforce affirmative actions at the racetrack when the city itself is deficient in terms of affirmative actions? So we were totally dissatisfied in terms of the kinds of responses that we were getting. And the bottom line is that even today, as I speak to your radio audience, we can't tell black people in this town where they can go to apply for jobs at Remington Park. We can't give them any kind of affirmative actions assurances that they will be hired. The situation is totally unsatisfactory.
Well, one time, Cecil L. Williams and I were on a Human Rights Commission for the city of Oklahoma, and we asked that question. We say to the city of Oklahoma, how can you go out and tell businesses to come up with an affirmative action program and you don't have one? Do you know what they did with us? Do you know?
Tell me about it.
They got rid of us on that committee by dissolving the Human Rights Commission. Now, see, in Oklahoma, I want to ask you some questions out there. Is there anyone in the state of Oklahoma that's qualified to serve on boards besides Russell Perry? Look at the boards that he is on from the state. Look at them from the city. Now, I want you to answer that question for me. My telephone number is 478-2103. Now, what has happened as I see it, someone has thought, and these are my good white friends. I have some good white rich friends. And these white rich friends think that 1, 2, or 3 black people can control the other blacks in Oklahoma City. So if you want to get on a board or a commission, just be a good black. And I would like to say this about Russell Perry. I remember during the sit-in movement, Russell Perry was conspicuous by his absence. But now he's the one that gets to go and be on all the committees and the boards because he has been real good. I remember the Sanitation Strike. Russell Perry was conspicuous by his absence. But now that the doors are open now, Russell Perry you got to go through Russell Perry to get any consideration on committees. And I want you to think out there. Think.
And that's what I call the plantation system. And those of you who have read about the system of slavery in this society, you will know that the big master lived in the big house. And he had a few Negroes to control the other blacks on the plantation. So we had those Negroes who were in the house who lived comfortably and got all the favors or the appointments from the master. And then we had those black people who worked hard in the field and got nothing for it. So what we have in Oklahoma City is another plantation system, and we have a few people who at least think they are the plantation bosses. And I'm here to say today that we are no longer on the plantation. We will not tolerate the plantation bosses.
Well, you start talking about what happened in Germany. That's where you got yourself in trouble.
Yes, indeed. Let me clarify that. You see, what basically happened was the officials from Remington Park told us, and Councilman James told us, don't worry about affirmative actions. We will be fair with black people out there. And what I said, and I said it without apology, and I'll repeat it, yes, the Nazis during World War II told the Jews that they would be fair to them. But you see, 6 million Jews were killed. In other words, you cannot depend on people's rhetoric, their word, for what they say they're going to do for black people. We have had a constitution for years which ensured equality for all people. We have had a Declaration of Independence which talked about equality for all people. If black people could take the word of other people about being fair, we would be most naive. So all I was saying to them with this Nazi analogy was, we can no longer take your word for it. Show us something in terms of deeds. In other words, we want to see some black people working at Remington Park. Don't give us your rhetoric. We're tired of rhetoric. We want some action.
But someone has called in and said that the jobs out there were union jobs, and most blacks aren't able to get in the unions. And I would like to react to that by saying West Germany was not able to produce until this government made it possible through the Marshall Plan to help West Germany. And if you can help other people, you can certainly help yourself.
The union itself is a problem. In most cases, you have discrimination in the unions. So if the union itself is a part of the problem, then we need to correct that problem with unions also.
We will be back with you in just a minute. In the meantime, this program is being made possible by Burger Brothers, located at 412 South Harvey here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Burger Brothers specials of the day are round steak, $1.68 a pound, pork steak for 99 cents a pound, pork roast for 89 cents a pound, Wilson Corn King sausage, a 1-pound package for 77 cents, Wilson certified bacon, 2-pound package, $2.79. And that is at Burger Brothers, 412 South Harvey.
Thank you so very kindly. Let's get down to Burger Brothers. In the first place, I want Oklahoma City to know that I am embarrassed, not by the ministers, but I am embarrassed by a councilman who will say we don't want an affirmative action program, and by a newspaper editor that would publish it. And here we go, continuing.
Mrs. Luper, I also want to address another thing that article said. It called Reverend Strong and I misdirected preachers. And I want the radio audience to know that in the history of black America, the black church has been a liberation mechanism. What that is an organization that has always had the freedom needs of black people in mind. Anytime the black church only deals with spiritual matters alone and leaves the social dimension not to be dealt with, that church is not being faithful to the gospel. Now, if they want to call Reverend Strong and I misdirected, then they also, I guess we're in pretty good company, because they called Jesus misdirected. They called Dr. Martin Luther King misdirected, and he was a preacher. And so if they want to say we embarrassed them and we are misdirected, then that's fine. But let them look at who we follow and who we basically are in the mode of.
Let the public speak. This is a Clara Luper radio show. Hello? This is a Clara Luper radio show. Be sure and call right back. Be sure and call right back.
Yes, in terms of the Chronicle again, I would like to know, really, where Russell Perry gets the authority from to apologize for the black community. My understanding is he doesn't live here, number one, and secondly, he certainly doesn't epitomize the black community. I understand he has a couple of Mercedes and that he hobnobs with the white top officials. So, and where does he get the authority and the audacity and the boldness to apologize to white people for the black community? I challenge his authority to even speak for the black community.
Well, I apologize for Russell Perry trying to speak for the black community. And I want to say to this white community, let's come down to reality. You had better get up off of your constitutions, white Oklahoma City. You business people, you political people, and you better treat blacks just like you treat yourselves. No one person in Oklahoma City can speak for all of the whites. Now, this is serious. We do have another newspaper, the Ebony Tribune, that's telling it like it happened. And you can support this newspaper with your ads, with your dreams, and with your really something. Now, what I want you to do is to be sure, and whatever you do, be sure. I'm sorry we do not have time for any other calls. We have some advertising that we have to get in. Let us get down to the serious business of black people, and that's JOBS, jobs. Jobs for all. And if these ministers had the courage to stand up and ask for jobs for black people, I think we should throw our arms around them and tell them to march on to victory and to speak for us. I have a minute left, Reverend, and I would like for you to say what you would like to say to this black community in your own words.
Well, I simply want us to continue doing what we have been doing for 400 years, fighting for our dignity. What we are seeing now is nothing new from what we've had to face for 400 years. We have always had to face internal enemies and external enemies. But we will have to deal with our internal enemies. And in this case, obviously, we have identified those enemies. So we must keep on. We must keep the faith. We must keep struggling for jobs. We must support those people who are supporting our interests as opposed to supporting their own individual interests.
I think one of the things that we have to do as we celebrate Black History Month is we have to just reaffirm our own determination that we're going to select our own leaders. I have no desire to be a leader. I came here simply to pastor my church and do a good job of comforting, loving people, helping people. But in the process of doing that, I found myself being viciously attacked. Somehow I'm perceived as a threat to that whole power situation, to that plantation mentality. And I think that one of the responses that we've got to make, our freedoms are not only threatened in South Africa, but right here, if one person can be dealt with and used to control all of the rest of us to the detriment of all of us, and for the self-aggrandizement and economic advancement of just one or two individuals.
My word is just basically freedom, 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 which means jobs, 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 money, baby, money.
As I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time for me to say goodbye. I hate to say goodbye to you because you've been so sweet through the years. Today I have brought you a program of Black history. The last part of this program is also one of Black history. Once again, many times we must turn to the pages of history and we must ask ourselves, are we moving as fast as we can? Because if one of us is moving without looking back at others, we are not moving. We came to this city for different reasons, but we are all in the same boat. So as I look at the clock on the wall and as I get ready to head for Miss Black Oklahoma State University, I want to remind you that the Amicus Club will meet tonight in the beautiful home of Mrs. Alexander Jones. And to all of you down to Oklahoma State University, I'm on my way. And to those of you at Northeast Baptist Church, I will see you tomorrow at 3:30. And to those of you at Evangelistic Baptist Church, I will see you at 5. And to those of you at St. Luke's Baptist Church in Spencer, I'll see you at 7. And until then, this is Clara Luper saying, I am not embarrassed by the preachers. I am proud of them. And Russell Perry does not speak for me. Bye-bye.
This is KBYE, 890 AM in Oklahoma City, the Southwest Radio Voice of Religion. Stay tuned.